If you're going to be doing a project with Versetta Stone, there's some things that you must know about the purchasing process as well as the delivery side of things before you even get started with your project. So in this video, we're going to talk about these critical things you have to know before you get started. So you can see here, this is a complete pallet of flats. You've got 3 layers with 10 bundles on each layer, so that comes with 30 bundles or 60 pieces total. This is basically what it looks like shipped from the factory. The only difference is you don't have the cross bracing 2x4s that are installed. Those should be in place when you receive the delivery. If the cross braces aren't there, there's a higher likelihood that these are damaged, so you want to be sure to check those when you receive delivery. The metal flange on the flats are painted black, and then the metal flange on the corners are painted maroon, so it's a really easy, quick way to tell if it's a corner or a flat. Also in the packaging, the corner pallets are marked with that same maroon color, and it says universal corners. And then on the flats, it says flat panels, and it has a blue band, so it's easy to pick out in the store. Each panel covers 2 square feet. There are 2 panels per bundle, and so each bundle covers 4 square feet. There are 10 bundles per layer, and so each layer covers 40 square feet, and an entire pallet, since it holds 30 bundles, is 120 square feet. I've also noticed on Home Depot they're selling these in bundles or boxes of 6 bundles each, and so that would be 12 panels in a bundle, or a box, I should say. I'm not sure if that's going to be more common going forward or not, but I wanted to point out the difference here. These are how we purchase them, individual bundles coming on a pallet, and if you buy the 6 packs, I don't have any examples of what that would look like, but I wanted you to be aware that that is an option as well. After you receive the shipments, it's a great idea to take out all the packs, inspect them for any kind of damage, cracks, and then repackage them. So like on this pallet, we have 2 layers of the flats, and then we had an additional layer of the corners that we ended up putting on top. You can see here that we kept this maroon band for the corners so that way we could identify them when they're packed up. And also we have this band here to help hold everything in place. Not only do we have that, but we also ended up rewrapping all of these pallets with some plastic wrap as well to kind of hold everything together, because it was going to be a while before we started using these for our actual project. So we wanted to make sure these weren't damaged while they were being stored. You can see on this pallet of 30 bundles that we have here that we don't have those plastic bands in place, and it's ideal to have those in place to kind of hold all these layers together, but you don't necessarily have to have them. It's more important to have the foam blocks in place. I will say though that you can see here we do have the bottom part of the pallet. The bottom pallet is actually from Boral for the Versetta Stone, and that has the band built into it, and that's important to use on the bottom layer, especially because that pallet has that special layer of foam in it to support the middle of the stone, so that way it doesn't break, especially when you're stacking it on top of each other. You want to make sure those foam supports are in place. It's also really important to make sure you're using plastic wrap to wrap everything together when you're stacking them up this way, so that way you don't accidentally bump into them and then knock them over and break them. The Versetta Stone is not shipped laying down, but if you order an odd number of units, like a couple extra bundles, like instead of a pallet of 30 or like 32 bundles or something like that for your project, you might have these laying down on top. And what happens in that case is usually they'll break in the middle. So you want to be sure to inspect those panels to make sure that they don't have any cracks in the middle, because that is the most likely place that we've seen for these to crack in shipment. The other common thing is if they don't have any of the foam blocks in between layers. So basically if these pallets were restacked in the store and they did not keep these foam blocks in place, then that's another common area for a reason why these crack during shipment, is because they're not supported in the middle, and then you'll have crack marks along the center. Also, the last thing with the cracks is make sure you use, or these are shipped on the Boral Versetta Stone pallets, because they have some foam in the center as well that's attached to the pallets itself to support in the middle. So if those things aren't in place, then it's a higher likelihood that you'll have damaged stone in your shipment, and it's more of a reason to take everything out and inspect it all to make sure nothing is damaged. Some other specific Versetta Stone products that you'll probably need for the installation are boxes like these. So these are used to install lights if you have lights on the outside of your house. This just goes over the junction box, and it goes onto your house using metal lath and some adhesive. I'll include instructions or links to the instructions from Versetta Stone in the description if you're interested in how all of this stuff is installed. So be sure to check out the description for that. As far as attaching these to the home, Versetta Stone also makes some screws specifically designed for this process. This is the shorter version of these screws, and they also make a longer version if you're installing this over foam board. You could probably use normal screws. However, if warranty is important to you, it's probably a good idea to use all Versetta branded products to make sure everything is good and kosher. With the Versetta Stone product, they also say you can install these with nails or like a nail gun. The only problem is they said if you ever expect to get these off of your home again, if you want to like replace a panel that's damaged at some point in time, for example, that if you use a nail gun, it's going to actually nail through the flange, and it's going to be really difficult to remove those pieces without it being damaged. So that's just something else to keep in mind. Speaking of, if you're installing this where there's any windows, or if you're going to be installing this and have a ledge and have it transition to another material, you'll need to purchase these caps as well. The other thing you'll need are these starter strips here. So basically each panel will set into this groove here. So you'll want to start out your installation with one of these in place. And so this is pretty cheap. I think it's like 20 bucks for a 10-foot section. But those are some additional things that you'll need from Versetta in order to complete the project, in addition to all the other prep things that you'll need, like tar paper and house wrap and all that stuff. So again, I'll have links to all of this in the description below, as well as the official instructions from Versetta on how to do the installation. We're going to have additional videos on this Versetta Stone project as well, including what we do for the demolition as well as the installation process. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to do that so you don't miss any of the updates that we have on this project. Otherwise, at this point in time, I want to say thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.